What's up, YouTube? I'm Anarchius, and today we're talking about 5 pieces of media that has touched me spiritually. Have you guys ever been touched by a piece of media? No diddy. I just know how people are. So, have you ever been moved by a piece of media? That can be anything. That's music, books, comic books, anime, animation, TV shows, anything. Have you ever been touched by a piece of media? Has it ever gotten to you emotionally? I mean, tell me about your experience below in the comments, please. I just want to know if I'm the only one or not. Now, part of the reason why I'm doing this video is because of an experience I witnessed someone else has. Now, you guys know, whenever I do a video, most of the videos are inspired by something else. Now, I would like to talk about that, but if you don't want to talk about that, you just want the 5 pieces of media that touched me spiritually, which mostly is anime, I want you to go ahead and fast forward to the timestamp shown on screen or in the description. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because last week on X or Twitter or whatever the hell we call it now, there was a video posted of a person who has historically been a Kendrick Lamar hater. He's apparently a Drake fan. He, for the first time, listened to Good Kid, M.A.A.D City on stream in front of his subs. And then he got to the song Sing About Me. Now, if you ever listen to Good Kid, M.A.A.D City, especially if you're a hip hop head, you already know the importance of this album. But if you listen to that song, you probably had the same reaction he did. He cried, bawled his eyes out in front of his subs, his followers, his friends, his community. He cried. And I felt a little touched because the first time I had heard that song, and most people I know heard that song, felt touched by that song, the story of that song. And I watched that video and I watched that clip. That man was having a spiritual awakening. And then not only that, if you guys know about this album, you know what's also at the end of that song or at the end of that album is Dying of Thirst. Now, if you are from the hood or you from hard circumstances, if you ever experienced loss, if you ever felt lost, you ever felt angry, you ever just felt like you couldn't do shit about the situation you were in, that song will get you every time. It got me every time. It still gets me to this day. That's not the only thing that happened. The other thing that happened is literally 3 days later, people started talking about the fact that it was the anniversary of Black Panther, the anniversary of the Marvel movie Black Panther dropping however many years ago it was. And people began on the internet, on X, on Blue Sky, Threads, all these different places talking about their experiences and being touched spiritually by that movie. And it made me stop and think, damn, the last 5 minutes of that movie going into the credits, I bawled my eyes out. I was touched spiritually. It wasn't just the movie, it was also the song, which also features Kendrick Lamar. All the Stars, featuring SZA, Kendrick Lamar. And it made me stop and think about a review I did on my Kill Colorstruck account a long time ago. It was of All the Stars, and I cried in that review, pointing out all the symbolisms of that music video. It was freaking beautiful. I was touched spiritually by the song and the video. And I just stopped thinking, oh, this Kendrick Lamar guy must be some type of prophet, like the reincarnation of John the Baptist or something along those lines. I don't know what it is, but this guy has got it because all of his music has touched me spiritually, not just emotionally. And for that, this list I'm about to head into right now, I'm banning Kendrick Lamar for at least the first list because Kendrick Lamar is way too easy. He is way too easy. So let's go ahead and get into this list. Quick, before I continue, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you like videos like these and discussions like these. Not only that, if you like dark urban fantasy comic books, my comic book Judgment Day will in fact tickle your fancy. All Diddy. It's like I'm not just playing. No Diddy, no Diddy, no Diddy. But yeah, I know you would like it if you like dark urban fantasy comic books. All right, let's get to the list. The very first piece of media on this list is an anime. And this anime is called Parasyte the Maxim. It tells a story about a high school student whose right hand gets taken over by a parasite, which is like an alien type deal, and they're forced to coexist. But how does this touch me spiritually. There is a scene in the anime, in an episode, where a character who is also a parasite. However, let me circle back a little bit. The parasite is supposed to take over your brain and eat your brain, and then your head can turn into this big ugly thing, and you can cut people up and eat them, and that sort of thing, right? That's not what happened to the main character. The parasite had to take his hand. Now, this character, this lady, she was taken over by a parasite, and she was intelligent enough to do experiments, essentially, as this parasite. The parasite had a baby. Now, the parasites eat humans. The parasites also do not have any emotion. The parasite herself had this baby, cared for this baby, and when the government in Japan finally caught up with her, she had the wherewithal to try and make sure that this baby goes somewhere where it will be loved and taken care of. She protected the baby while I guess what would be SWAT for this, the Japanese were attacking her, were shooting her with a hailstorm of bullets. She protected that baby with her body, handed the baby off, I believe it was to the main character, Shinichi, and she passed away right there on the spot. Why did this touch me the way it did? I honestly don't know. I believe it's the fact that the parasite themselves wasn't supposed to be able to love, which we also find out kind of is a lie between this in this whole series, because Migi, the right hand of the main character, Shinichi, very clearly loves Shinichi. They say that they don't have emotions, but they show like they care about Migi and they care about Shinichi, and they always frame it like, well, if you die, then I die. But there's some things that Migi does that shows you that they actually care about Shinichi. They could have left Shinichi at the very end of the story and joined with the blob, the super duper parasite, which was like a bunch of parasites in one, but they didn't. They fought to save Shinichi. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that parasite, the lady, tried to have a parasite baby with another guy who got taken over by a parasite. They did the experiment. They had, intercourse. They had the baby. The baby came out normal, like a normal human being, and she took care of it. She did what she had to. And that shit touched me. It just touched me. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the mother's love. It's the fact that this is an alien that have no emotional, quote unquote, supposed to have any emotional attachments to human beings. It's an emotional attachment to human being, a baby that it created, and dies protecting it. That touched me spiritually. Oh my God, I'm tearing up right now. Yeah. So that's Parasyte the Maxim. The second piece of media comes from my favorite type of media, hip hop. It is the song UMI Says by Mos Def, now known as Yasiin Bey. The entire song is essentially almost a hip hop jazz type feel to it. He's not really rapping, he's more singing. However, there's a hip hop element, obviously. It's obviously because he's a hip hop artist. He's also been very vocal about the fact that the companies that control and run hip hop would not allow him to do like rock, because he was like very into like Korn and that sort of thing when he was growing up. However, he did this song, and in the song, obviously, it's Umi Says. I think that's grandmother or mom. And Ami says, he says it in the song, I think that's dad says, it's shine your light on the world. And even though the world is ugly and beautiful and dark, shine your light. That is spiritually, that gets me every time. But what really gets me is at the very end of the song, the very, very end, when the song is at its, I guess climax, you would call it, he begins chanting, I want black people to be free, to be free, to be free. Oh, I'm tearing up right now. I want black people to be free, to be free, to be free. I don't think I should have to explain any further as to why that touched me spiritually. Because even though this was done in the 90s, It is 2025, and I do not feel like we are free people. We still live in a capitalist society, and I don't want to get into politics, but hearing that touched me spiritually, because that's literally all I want from my people. Just want us to be free of the bondages, free of the trials and tribulations that come with being in contact with people who want to do us harm and exploit us. So yeah, that touches me every time. Oh my God. Woo, I'm gonna cry. Woo. The third entrant to this list, the third entrant is also an anime. The anime called Japan Sinks 2020. It basically follows a family after a massive earthquake sank Japan, or the archipelago known as Japan. And it forced them to navigate the chaos and to survive. And as you know, most almost, what do you call it? Apocalyptic, even though this is not necessarily apocalyptic because it's specifically Japan that is sinking. There are challenges with sticking with family, trusting strangers, and surviving. And in this story, we watched the family of 4 get knocked down to a family of 2, with having people along the way, obviously, joining them. There are a lot of scenes in this that really got me, and I think the one that really, really got me the worst was when they were stranded on, I believe, a boat, and I believe their boat got caught on something, and the mother was the only one who had the ability to swing to swim down and free them, and she did, but she also did this with heart issues. The beginning of the story, the mother was returning to Japan after having a certain heart surgery, I believe, in America. And she did it. And I think she knew she wasn't coming back. And she did it. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. I don't know, maybe this is a thing with me with moms or something. I don't know. Oh God. Oh, I'm sorry about that, y'all. But yeah, she did it. She freed them. She saved her children. But she herself did not survive. The story is a very sad story, but again, humanity, because, oh God, it's happening again. There's also another scene where a famous YouTuber does something where he essentially made it easier for them to be picked up and saved, but he himself kind of known that he wasn't going to survive either. And humans could be good when they want to be. Oh, sorry. Okay. Woo. And the reason I'm comfortable with crying in front of y'all is because none of y'all can wear masks. So how about that? Anyway, yeah, humans can be good. What spiritually touched me about this is the way I grew up. I've seen the ugly side of humanity. So seeing this, even though it's an animation, I know in the world there has been situations like this in forever, where humans take care of each other when it doesn't benefit them, and it may even kill them. That sort of sacrifice always gets me. Humans can be good if they want to be. The son and the daughter survive. I believe the daughter loses a leg, but she still ends up doing, I believe, the Paralympics because she was a runner. And yeah, that story gets me every time, right in the heart. All right, we're going to have to shift to something else. Okay. The number 4 entrant to this story is a movie, and it's a rather recent movie, and it's going to be a little shorter. The name of this movie is They Cloned Tyrone. They Cloned Tyrone? Yeah, They Cloned Tyrone. All right. A lot of people didn't see this movie because of the pandemic. However, this movie is fan-freaking-tastic. It has John Boyega in it. It has, I forgot her name. She plays the original Captain Marvel, the black one. I think they call her Photon now, or something along those lines. I think that's her name now. But and it has Jamie Foxx in it. And it's specifically a scene that gets me because the movie is more of a comedy movie that plays into the old school blaxploitation, that sort of thing. And they even hint at it. It's also kind of like a drug dealer, pimp, and a prostitute all walking a bar. That sort of You know, that thing, that sort of joke it plays off of that. And the story is, when I say funny, it's funny, but there's a scene in there. So there's a scene, I don't want to do any spoilers. There's a scene in there where John Boyega's character was called Fontaine, and also at the end of the movie, Tyrone. Slick Charles was Jamie Foxx, and Yo-Yo, not Coco, Yo-Yo was played by Tiana Paris. She's the one who's in Marvel, and she's the original Captain Marvel, aka Photon. I think it's called Photon, the Photon. So Jamie Foxx's character and John Boyega's character had to go. I'm sorry, my voice broke just right there. Had to go save Yo-Yo. Now, Fontaine and Slick Charles went to go save Yo-Yo, and they had to crack a plan. And in this plan involved people who were beefing to work together, right? So there's a scene in it where Jamie Foxx's character is at the head of what we would call in the military a convoy. It's just a convoy of lowriders, really nice cars, and it's the whole hood essentially banding together to help save Yo-Yo, right? And again, some of these people are beefing, they don't like each other, that sort of thing. That touched me spiritually. Like, the togetherness of our people, like the things we can do if we were together, if we were more like that, Avengers Assemble, on your left, Cap, that sort of thing. Yeah, that was, for me, that was a Avengers Assemble situation, right? Oh my God. The movie essentially, in general, touched on a bunch of different topics that plague the Black community, even though they're doing it in a comedic way. And yeah. And obviously they were not cloning people in real life, but that's one of the conspiracy theories, and that's a part of the whole the sci-fi mystery comedy, that part of that sort of thing. So yeah, number 4 was They Cloned Tyrone. If you haven't seen it, go see this movie. This is really good. Now, the final piece, the final entrant for this is an anime, and a lot of people are going to be like, what? But it's going to be another anime by the name of Devilman Crybaby. Now, a lot of different things came out of this. A lot of people were like, oh my God, all the extra adult scenes in it were unnecessary, that sort of thing. But what really got me mainly is more towards the end of the series. Now, the story itself, let me go ahead and go with this synopsis. Let me go ahead and explain to you what it is. So basically, in Devilman Crybaby, this is 2018, a teenager essentially becomes a demon-human hybrid, like a demi-human. I think that's what it's called. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's called a Tifa or a Tifer or something in like D&D. So half devil, half human person, a teenager becomes that. And in this series, the demons essentially are starting to slowly take over the humankind in general, right? The main character, Akira, he's a sensitive kid, and he now has just been dragged into being essentially a demon. But like, he was able to keep who he was as a demon, whereas some people do not have that. And he's followed around by another kid by the name of Rio, who is a little bit of a demon himself, right? He's not necessarily a demon until we find out later, spoilers. Yeah, he's essentially the devil, like the guy, right? So the thing that really got me in this story was the opposite of most of the interests on this list, is like showing the ugly side of humanity, right? The people not willing to stop and think, they just do things essentially, because there were a lot of times in the anime where people were killed. Like Akira Fudo's entire family was killed by demons. Right, I think his little brother became, or the family he was living with, rather, his little brother became a demon, and becoming a demon became a death sentence because the humans were killing demons, or even killing people suspecting of being a demon. Several times, Akira tried to put himself between the situation, but it didn't really work. And but what really got me is when his love interests, one of the women he lived with, She got chased down. She was accused of being a demon. She was chased down and murked for it. Now, I could say it got me more emotionally, but this is also kind of like a spiritual thing for me. Human beings, again, like I said earlier, can be good when they want to be, but they can be downright evil when they want to be. It was no different from like the Salem witch trials, essentially, you know? Something's going on, people don't understand it, so somebody decides to make things up in order to comfort people because there are no straight answers as to what's going on. And that's what happened in Devilman Crybaby. But what really, really fucked me up is that obviously there's a final battle because it's an anime, and Akira, who's the devil Amon, literally has a one-on-one fight essentially with the demons, and it destroys the planet. He has a one-on-one fight with the devil, with Lucifer, the Lightbringer, you know, and at the very end of the story, spoilers again, Lucifer is having having discussion. I believe he's on the fucking moon, or I can't remember where it was, having a discussion with Akira, and they're side by side, and he's talking to Akira, telling them to look at it, look at the beauty, that sort of thing. And eventually, Lucifer starts breaking down, and it zooms out, and what you find out is Akira has been ripped in fucking half. Akira is no longer alive. And like in the beginning, if you watch Devilman Crybaby 2 times, it kind of reminds me of DMX's ATF. DMX is a rapper. If you watch it back to back, it's like a loop. So essentially, Lucifer ends up being alone by himself again after doing what he shouldn't have been doing. Instead of like learning, wants to take over and control things, that sort of thing. But that touched me spiritually, because this person fought to love, like Akira fought for the love of his friend during that whole show, trusted him the entire time, and it led them to what happened: the demons versus the humans, or the half demons versus the full demons, and everybody who was with Lucifer. And it just got me. It just got me, right? Because they did with it, even though the demons were being the half demons, which were like the demons with a heart, I believe what it was called in the series, were being some of them were being attacked by humans because they were still demons in their eyes. They still chose to protect them and fight with Akira / Amon to get rid of Lucifer, and they lost big. And of course they lost. They lost to fucking Lucifer, the Lightbringer, the strongest, the angel. So yeah, you know, that also touched me. You know, that people were willing to fight while also being stabbed in the back. People were willing to fight for what was right while also still being stabbed in the back, when they could have just stepped aside and waited on the fence. That to me is beautiful. It touched me spiritually. If you want another list like this, tell me in the comments and I will make another list. I have a whole bunch of different things, a whole bunch of different other pieces of media have touched me. No diddy. Just, I love this shit. That's part of the reason why I do this channel. I love this shit. And I think you would love it too. Some of these other things. And I will unban Kendrick Lamar from this point forward, because he has a lot of music, media that has symbolisms in it and stories that touch me spiritually. DMX also. There's a bunch of other musicians and music that has done the same for me. Animes as well. So tell me if you want me to do this again. If I do it again, I'll give you 5 more. But these are my initial 5 pieces of media that have touched me spiritually. No diddy. The bamboo earrings, baby.